What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to comment on a discussion that Larry Johnson, former NFL running back, had with Jason Whitlock, right? And they were talking about Michael Jordan and could Michael Jordan have possibly had a positive influence on LeBron James, right? And I made a video about this saying that Michael Jordan didn't have any reason or nor did he have any type of obligation to help out LeBron James, right? But Larry Johnson took it a little bit further and he said that Michael Jordan, was really uh above, what LeBron James represent. And not just when people think about above, they're talking about, a lot of times they refer to like the rings and what Michael Jordan did on the court. But also like think about like what Michael Jordan stood for and how Michael Jordan carried himself, right? That's more so the conversation that Larry Johnson, is getting into. And so there was no way that LeBron James could have really patterned himself like Michael Jordan if he wasn't willing to mature and put the work in. So the route that LeBron James the route LeBron James took, in my opinion, was just a much easier route. And that's what also, like on so many different levels, Michael Jordan just was just the way he carried himself in his career was just so much. It was better, not just on the court but off the court. So with that being said, let me play the conversation between Jason Whitlock and Larry Johnson. Then I'm gonna come back and give my reaction.
But you guys are contemporaries. I really your reaction or thoughts to my reaction that hey, if Michael Jordan had stepped in here and connected with LeBron James at age 18 or 21, 22 or 20, do you think uh, LeBron would perhaps be different and would look at Michael Jordan differently and perhaps look at Jay-Z differently? Or is Michael Jordan just cut from the same cloth and just it's a different route to the exact same thing?
I think it's a different route, but the image is completely different. If LeBron went Michael Jordan's way, and mind you, Michael Jordan went to college, Michael Jordan grew up as an adult and he was around adults. They made LeBron stay a kid at 16 years old. He never grew up. Once you put a kid like that in the limelight and you connect him with a major music mogul, and that music mogul sells materialism, it sells young people behavior. It doesn't sell being a grown-up. Even though Jay-Z tried to change his image and say, oh, I put on button-ups and I put on a fitted hat and all that, kids were already sold with platinum chains, gold watches, big cars, big rims. It was already too late. So if LeBron went Jordan's way, he would have been more grown up about it. Michael Jordan knows that he's above a Jay-Z. He knows that because he worked for it. He worked for everything he got. And he worked for, from the time he was in college to the time he went professional, he worked for it. So Jay-Z and Michael Jordan wouldn't even be on the same level. But LeBron could have been on that level if he understood who he was. Like I said before, he didn't need any big brother. He didn't need all this limelight, thrust upon him at a very early age. It's just because it has, people brought deals to him. He didn't have to sit back and say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. They're like, no, we would like for you to do this. And the only way you could do this if you do this for us. I think that's why you see him walking hand in hand with this Jewish rabbi at a birthday party or a wedding, wherever they was. I mean, it was the telltale sign that I'm still a young kid and I need to be dragged around by older men. That's what the image is, that he never grew up. He's stuck in this 16 to 18-year-old mindset. And you saw that when he was at that concert at Yankee Stadium. Like, fam, enjoy the music. This isn't your first time being around a Jay-Z concert or listening to his lyrics, but he made it a point that he had to be seen. And that's very childlike behavior.
All right. So that's a good point by Larry Johnson, right? Now I had this discussion with other people, and the thing about Michael Jordan's career, like his career too was scripted too, right? But Michael Jordan also understood like there was some parts of being a professional athlete and being in the business that he didn't like. But Michael Jordan also he was willing to work and be a and earn everything that he got from whoever, like Nike. Nike just can't say that Michael Jordan didn't do his part to make them to help them to grow. The NBA can't say that Michael Jordan didn't do his part to help the NBA grow. You know what I mean? Because Michael Jordan left everything he had out there on the court. And so he earned everything that he got from the NBA, everything he got from any of the sponsors, Nike, Gatorade, or any of those, right? But it wasn't the same case with LeBron James. LeBron James, they came to him as a kid, a teenager. And before he was even finished high school, they was giving him everything. So LeBron James had already made it. He didn't have to go to college, study the game some more, learn from a great coach, then go to the NBA and go through the trials and tribulations that Michael Jordan went through with trying to win a ring, right? He didn't have to go through that. He had to, he took a easier route. He wasn't willing to put the work in that Michael Jordan put in. So that's part of why LeBron James is still that 16-year-old kid that he was when he came into contact with these people who run the NBA, who run, these big corporations that LeBron James, do business with. He's still that 16-year-old kid. They put handlers around LeBron James. So LeBron James had no reason to improve his basketball game. When people talk about, well, LeBron James has never developed a low post game. LeBron James has never improved his dribbling, his jumper, like none of those things. LeBron James, and in my opinion, just rely mainly on his physical abilities as a basketball player. That's it. He don't have, like he's not somebody who you would consider, oh, he's a wily old veteran. He know all the tricks. He got the footwork. Like, if you look at the development, Michael Jordan development, even when he got to the pros, his jumper got better, his footwork got better. He became a better teammate as far as being able to know how to trust and use his teammates. Like, and so you see that maturity that came with Michael Jordan. You see that. And Michael Jordan also, and he came from a two-parent household. So Michael Jordan also he was a guy who observed and he learned, right? Because he came from that type of environment. He learned from his parents, then he learned from Dean Smith when he was in college. So Mike soaked things up. Mike learned, right? And he saw some things that, like I said, he probably didn't like about the NBA or like about big business, but he learned how to navigate those things and try to basically keep his, he wasn't going to really like give in too much or sell his soul or anything, just be and stay Michael Jordan. Whereas though LeBron James, man, just always compromised and took shortcuts, right? And so when people say that Mike is above LeBron James, I'm not even just talking about a basketball standpoint or, the rings and how many times LeBron James lost in the finals. That, all that stuff is just more. It's just more evidence that Mike put that work in. Mike was not going to allow them to just give him anything and just say, well, you're the face of the league. Mike earned that. He earned it. Although it probably was, he got some help along the way. Some things probably was orchestrated, but if it was scripted, if Mike's career was scripted, then Mike also was a great actor. Whereas though if LeBron James, they script LeBron James' career, LeBron James was not a great actor. He's not really fooling anybody about like who he is or what he is. Everybody know that he's just not the person that Michael Jordan is. And so, and Larry Johnson having this conversation with Jason Whitlock is just, they're not even talking about basketball. They're talking about like decisions and life off of the court, which I think is even more important because you know, they go hand in hand, but it's more important. Like if LeBron James was somebody who understood that there was no free rides, no free meals, then he would have left, and he would have put everything he had and left that all on the court. And he'd have been in a position, put himself in a position where nobody can tell him, but like, well, we gave you this and we gave you that, so we're going to take this back and we're going to take that back. Um, it'll be harder to take something away from Michael Jordan than it would be LeBron James, because anything that you earn on your own, you know, it's just hard for somebody, you know, people can't take that away from you. But if somebody give you, you know, if somebody just constantly give and give and give, then they can take it back. And that's the position that LeBron James is in. Like, he's been given everything. And so those things that he's been given can be taken away from him. When if you come from a background like Michael Jordan come from, you know, two-parent household, great coach, you know, a student of the game, a student of life, then you know, like certain things you wouldn't be able to take back from Michael Jordan that you can take from LeBron James. And that's the place that LeBron James found himself in right now. So that's my take on that. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.